Episode number 120 with Alex, Carlos, and Mike. Welcome to the Heads Up Poker Podcast. This is Steve Barton, and thank you for tuning in. We have a special treat for you guys. We have Alex Fitzgerald, we've got Carlos Welch, and we have Mike Sneideman. So thank you guys for coming to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us on. Sorry, guys, if there's a little banging in the background when I talk. My mom's putting away some groceries. So
okay.
Yeah.
Just admit you're slamming your head into the wall because you can't believe you're back here for a third time. It's fine.
Yeah, that's right. That's pretty much it. You know, I'm waiting until the blood goes into my nostrils and it came out my eyes, and then I'll know I'm done. But yeah, up until then, I gotta keep doing it.
Awesome. Now, you two are unlikely roommates, right? You guys have moved in together?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, I do 99% of the talking during the day, and, Carlos kind of hangs out. Yeah,
it's normal for me to not talk as much. People probably won't believe that because they know me mostly from podcasts where I'm talking a lot. But my natural state is quietness. Alex is the exact opposite of that, and I'm going to have to. I can bring that to the podcast now that I'm on with 4 people, at least 2 of which love to talk a lot. I'm not going to say which are the other 2 besides Alex, but I think you guys can guess.
True.
Yeah. I forget Carlos lives here for days at a time because he just stays in his little side. There's like a side room that I wasn't doing anything with, and he was already out here. And this is my uncle's place. This was weird. We were talking about. Carlos was saying, you got to come to Laughlin. It's the cheapest place ever. And I was like, I'm down for that because I'm real broke after the divorce. Sounds good, So, so I went. I was trying to make a joke, but when you don't laugh, it sounds really serious. But yeah, anyway.
Well, I was going to say, I thought the thing that brought you back to the U.S. was Donald Trump getting elected. But I guess
man, I'm real. Everybody. I walk around as a white man now on a promenade. Everybody's doing everything for me. I'm like, police officer, get these men away from me. But yeah,
you're enjoying that white privilege. Is that what it is?
Yeah, that white privilege. When I go to the grocery store, they're like, "That's $194.36." I'm like, "Excuse me, have you seen the color of my skin?" No, we were talking about this place. And, and my uncle, out of nowhere goes, I have a place in Bullhead City. And I'm like, that's in a whole other state. I don't know where that is. And then Carlos was saying, you idiot, that's across the street from Laughlin. Okay, cool. Hey, uncle, yeah, I'll rent that place out. And then Carlos has been here. Carlos was living here for 5 days when I got here. I didn't even know. He didn't even come out of the side room or anything. He grinds in there, eats in there, works out in there. And, once in a while he emerges. I'm like, hey, what's up, Carlos? And, he listens to me talk for 43 seconds and goes right back into that room. So,
This is the new knit cave.
The knit cave. Is that what we're calling it?
Yep.
I gotta up my knit game. I got some paper towels that were $10, and Carlos, slapped me upside the head. Said, "These are $5, dude." Right,
I bet he about shit his pants when he heard that.
Yeah, he did. But yeah, what's good, everybody? Glad to be on.
I picture when Carlos comes out of his cave once every 36 hours, he probably sees you sitting in the corner with a pipe in one hand, petting a poodle, mumbling to yourself about 5-bet bluffing or something like that. Is that what it looks like?
Pretty much, yep. Crack pipe. I always with the crack pipe, but yeah, man, I'm gonna get my career together. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be all right, man. Everything's okay, man. 30 is the new 12, so everything's fine. But no, hey, yeah, I pretty much work, let's see, from 9 in the morning till 4 in the morning. So yeah, I'm just pretty much I'm pretty much here, make no money off of it, just broke as hell, right? Just working for the fun of it. That's for making 40-hour webinars for 18 people. It's going well. No, I'm kidding. Things are going fine. Everything's going well.
I would say so. You've got books out. You've been writing. You're doing all your blog and your email list and everything. I mean, one thing we had Carlos on. It's been, I guess, 2 months now, but he was saying that one thing he was hoping to learn from you was work ethic.
Oh, yeah.
That was the thing. I said I was afraid to learn from him. I was afraid that I would have to quadruple is probably not even enough. I'll say quadruple my work ethic to get like a fifth of what he does. But he definitely allows me to go at my own speed. But I have been definitely working harder than I normally do. But I'm nowhere near him. I actually sleep at night. So
yeah. I slept 4 hours last night. Don't be a hater. I sleep. I watched a baseball game too for 22 minutes last night. That was a big deal for me. I read a book. I put on some slippers before I put my work boots back on and got to the computer. But no, I learned from Carlos too. He's been doing this fasting thing and just dropping weight like crazy. And I went, hey, now I got a big gut. I can do this. And yeah, I've dropped, I want to say 20 pounds since I got here. And
really?
Honestly, yeah, well, it's good. The people I surround myself with are really into it. And like Dennis Peterson's really into it. This girl I'm dating is really into it. Carlos is really into it. And yeah, you don't want to, your network really does decide your net worth, because you do not, if somebody goes, do you want a Milky Way bar? And all your friends are smoking pot and playing Call of Duty, you go, yeah, sure, hit me up with it, man. Give me 2. If your friends are fasting and like running, like Carlos does, you look at the Milky Way a little differently. Am I really going to do well if the people around me are doing well and they're not doing this? So that's been cool. That's really been helpful.
Right.
How does the fasting thing work? What's the system? What do you do?
Carlos is more educated on this.
Alex has a different system than me. If I've overheard him correctly, he says he stops eating at 10 p.m. and then starts eating at 2 p.m. the next day. And that's a 16-hour fast. Basically, you just do it overnight. So at least half of it is taken up by sleep, and it makes it easier. Okay. That's his version of fasting. My version of fasting is just eat boring ass food and only eat again when you are forced to like deal with that boringness. So right now, basically the only thing I'm eating is like black beans. And so once you've had, your fill of black beans and that's the only option, you don't eat again until you absolutely have to. And and for me, sometimes that's like 40 hours later.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, the amazing thing was I was just at the grocery store before I got here. I was looking to get some black beans and some red beans to make a salad or something. I'm feeling like the gourmet cook here because I'm going to mix some avocado with black beans and red beans for a salad. And like, this dude's eating black beans. This isn't a joke. Like,
is it like out of the can or what?
Yeah, just out the can. Well, and I'm thinking like Carlos is the cheapest person on planet Earth. Like I got 2 cans of black beans for $1, and he can subsist off of that for a day.
For 4 days.
For 4 days, he can subsist. It's not a joke, too. And then he just shrinks. He just, every time he comes out of his room, I'm like, hey, you crapped out 12 pounds. How'd you do that, man? Like, and then, I'm like dropping 4 pounds in a week and like looking weak, right? Compared to him, like, weak, puny mortal eating at 4 p.m. Like, oh, by the way, for those of you trying to do the intermittent fasting, yeah, you do 2 to 10. And the big thing I didn't know for a long time is you can drink liquids during that fast. So if you feel like you're not going to make it, mix a little MCT oil with some half and half with some coffee and throw in an espresso shot if you hate sleep as much as I do. And mix that all in. And then it's really funny. You'll have this horrible hunger pang then you'll drink that coffee and you'll just forget about it. And it's 150 calories maximum. I mean, depending on how much half and half an MCT oil you put in, it could be 75 if it's just a dab of each. And you'll get the hunger goes away. It's really funny. I noticed what's really ruining the weight loss and nobody talks about is diet soda. Because for a while I tried to drink some diet soda when I was fasting. That just made me balloon. And it's a fun little system. I also recommend getting some Pedialyte. Pedialyte or any, what did Carlos grab me at Family Wellness Center? Pediatric electrolyte oral solution. But this is really good because half the time you're hungry, you're really just dehydrated. So if you drink a little bit of Pedialyte, which tastes like completely horrible, you should get.
I've had it for a hangover. I know.
Yeah, you know how it is. Yeah. Well, you don't want to get Gatorade because it's just sugar. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
What was that, Mike?
I was just going to say, Steve, would you rather be trapped in the trunk of a Chevy Lumina for a week or spend 24 hours with these guys? Because this sounds like a fucking lot of fun. I got to be honest.
Maybe if it was an Impala, I would take the Impala, but it's a little bit more leg room. You know what I mean?
I wanted stories of, you guys throwing little parties for the cocktail waitresses over from Laughlin.
Yeah. You clearly have not seen a cocktail waitress from Laughlin if you think that's going to happen.
They're probably right up my alley, though.
I was going to say.
Yeah, they got 3 to 7 teeth. That's their range. A lot of meth around here. A lot of as a white trash white person, coming to Arizona is like coming home. Like this is my mecca. It's like who check out all these people doing meth. This looks great. I'm doing great. Whereas if you go to like a big city, it's like, wow, that guy walking down the street is worth $2.8 million. Right. I'm not doing so well. Yeah.
They're probably mocking you. Oh, look at this guy wearing the fucking sneakers. He thinks he's too good for us.
Yeah, right. Look at him flashing all those teeth, opening those non-bloodshot eyes.
Talking about the Laughlin cocktail waitresses, I got to share my favorite line from Carlos this summer. I'm talking about he's pointing to one woman he thinks is attractive. To me, who's just ridiculously big. I'm like, well, how big is too big? He's like, well, if she's not embarrassed to leave the house, she's probably not too big.
Exactly.
He's about to bang the Big Lots chick. Have you told them about this, Carlos?
I think I know I've told a lot of people. I don't know if I've told it on a podcast. Did I tell you guys about the time the Big Lot employee was hitting on me?
No,
I think you might have told me personally. It sounds, but I don't remember the story.
Yeah, so just to make it short, in the interest of time, I basically just walked into a Big Lots in Bullhead City, and as soon as it's like the automatic doors that kind of open on their own, as soon as my foot kind of passed that threshold, the lady at the restaurant was like, well, hello. And, and I'm like,
how big was she?
She was probably 50% bigger than me.
Okay,
which is pretty big.
We need numbers.
Looking at her, I'm guessing like she probably was only like a couple of value meals away from like 300.
Oh wow!
So
Carlos put that in his back pocket. Yeah. Go ahead.
So I go in and I'm looking for a particular type of potato chip, and she was like, "Oh, can I help you find anything?" I was like, "No, I got it." And then she just come like she's saying this from the register like across the store, and then she kind of like works her way over to me and so, "Are you sure I can't help you find anything?" And this is a chip I've been looking for like ever since I left Atlanta. Apparently they don't have them in the Big Lots out here. So I say, well, okay, yeah, there's this one thing I'm looking for. She's like, oh, we have some more over here. Follow me, handsome. And I'm just like she's dropping all these compliments and like just being extra helpful. And I'm thinking I would get hit on by the lady at Big Lots who unloads the furniture. But
you were brag posting about that. Don't make it sound like it's a bad thing, man.
Yeah, it's definitely she is not anybody I would ever notice, but it's good to know that there's a a backup plan. Like as we say in the poker world, you're grinding on a Sunday, you bust everything, and then there's that like late night session saver. Yeah, she may be my session saver one day.
Baby, you my 109 turbo. Just want you to know. What the hell does that mean? Don't talk no more. That's not what this relationship's about. Yeah.
I want to see Carlos strike out with this woman, but this woman feels bad for Carlos and sets him up with her fatter, uglier friend.
No, you can get on a losing streak with women. It's amazing. Like, when you get that desperation on you and you keep moving down numbers, you can be, like, as a guy, like a 9 and go up to a 3 and be like, hey, can I take this seat? And it's like, why? And it's like, yep, I'm looking that way right now. You can get on a losing streak like nothing. And you can get on a hitting streak, too, with women. It just, I don't know. It's a flow game. It's a flow game.
Completely right. They can feel it. They can smell it. They know when you're desirable and they know when you're not. And women want what other women want, and it's just cyclical.
Yeah. It is true, man.
Well, women, Alex, you said there's a woman you're dating. I was kind of surprised to hear that. Is this a woman you already met in Bull's Head, or?
Nah. No, it's one of my. It's a girl I went to high school with. She called me up after my divorce. You know, we were just staying in touch, and yeah, I was going to Montreal for some tournaments, so I stopped in New York because I got a bunch of friends there. And yeah, you know, we started dating. It was pretty fun. Yeah, really? Life is good. Life is good, man. Life is good.
She's out in New York?
Yeah, she's out in NY.
Cool.
Yeah. I love the East Coast. So I'm going out there a lot. I like the poker in Montreal. Y'all need to get up there. Like, these people, they were showing me this Asian kid. They were saying, this Asian kid's like the best in this room. Asian kid, under the gun +1, opens to 2.5x, calls a 3-bet to 8.5x, check calls on an 8-5-2 board, check down, he turns over 5-3 suited. I said, I'm going to play in this game for the rest of my life. Like, if this is how they play. No, he's like, yo, bro, I had a read. And I'm like, I'm sure you did. I'm sure, like, you all played it. It's the funniest. Like, remember the Kanawaki Gaming Commission? Well, this is Kanawaki. Like, it is Kanawaki. It is like a sheet of snow, and then there's this warehouse in the middle of the frozen tundra of Canada, and you walk in, and there's just 250 people. I watched cash games, a guy just 50K in front of him, just gone, 40 minutes. Like, let it go. Jeez. Whatever, man. I don't know where these Canadian people get their money. I guess that oil field is going well, or perhaps that marijuana legalization they have coming up is putting some money in some pockets. But it is nice up there. So, yeah, I'm heading out to Montreal as much as I can this year. Them Canadians are like the nicest people on earth. I always heard people in Montreal were mean, and everybody was super nice to me. I love it out there.
Nice.
I saw there's actually an airport in Laughlin, too, isn't it? That's pretty convenient for kind of a small town, really, or a small city, I guess.
It's a little weird. Yeah. It's an airport that has mostly, like, commercial, well, I shouldn't say commercial, like non-passenger flights, unless it's like these little dinky Cessnas that Steve flies. Steve can probably fly down here and hang out at Laughlin, but they have one airline, American, will fly out of Laughlin. I think like once a day or something, and it goes to Phoenix. So you can kind of fly in if you can connect through Phoenix, but it's not like an airport. It's not what you think of as an airport. Like, it's not.
I was picturing like a $50 round trip flight to Vegas. Anytime you want to fire in there,
I would freaking
love that. Man. You're gonna Carlos literally got stranded in the desert trying to go pick me up in Las Vegas because the Knitmobile broke down, and I slept at a Starbucks that night, sitting up at my laptop because I am a closeted nit. You know, I might tip very well, but deep in my bones, I do not like spending money. And it was like 2 a.m. when I found out, and I was thinking, I got a lesson at 7 in the morning. I'm not going to go pay some hotel. There was some convention in town too, so it was like $220 for a hotel room for 5 hours of sleep.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the funny thing I found out, there's like a code of decorum. like if you're going to sleep at the Starbucks. So it's me and 10 homeless people who are quote unquote checking their Facebook. The lights are bright enough to make your eyes bleed. They're playing like music as loud as you can make, and you got to sit in front of your screen and pretend like you're working, and then you're just nodding off. You have to look like a Japanese person at the end of an 120-hour work week. And yeah, I nodded off for like an hour, then woke up, and yeah, got to work. So yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, as far as that flights from the airport, if you want to get to Vegas, you got to fly from Laughlin to Phoenix, and then Phoenix to Vegas, and that's probably going to cost you like $300.
And it's only an hour
you
and a
can
half
drive there.
So.
Yeah. Like if Alex got on the plane to get from Laughlin to airport, and I started driving, I would probably get there before he did.
Probably by 2 hours too.
Yeah, for a lot less.
Definitely. Yeah. That little airport there, it's not really made for very big planes. It was funny. I met Don Laughlin, the guy that basically built the town, and he built that airport, and he built it pretty much for him because he's a pilot. He likes to fly, and then it just kind of blossomed into that.
Big life, man. I think I want to build me an airport.
No shit.
The town's actually named after him, or what?
Like, named after him, yeah.
One day I'm going to be driving through Northern California and see Bartonville or something.
That doesn't work with Fitzgerald or Welch, does it? Fitzgeraldville, I guess. But you met the guy who founded the city we're pretty much living in?
I did, yeah. The Riverside Casino?
Yeah. I've seen it, and I've seen the photos of this dude. Don Laughlin, is that his name?
Yeah, if you go to Riverside and you go there at night, he's always up in the karaoke bar. When you walk in the bar, he sits off to the right. He's got his own little seat, and he's got a 55-year-old bodyguard with him, and he just sits there and drinks wine, gets drunk, and listens to karaoke.
Did you see him? Did you happen to see him with one of his black friends rapping a Bad Meets Evil song?
No, I didn't that one. He must have just left.
Oh, okay. Because Mike tried to get me to do that one time at karaoke with him.
He tried to make you do Bad Meets Evil? So he was going to be Eminem?
Yeah, and I was going to be Royce the 5'9" at a karaoke looking like two idiots.
I got to say, you didn't even have the courtesy to spend a little time to mull that one over.
I mean...
That was a hell no. Was ripped out of his mouth about as quick as you can.
Like Carlos does not rap in private, so I don't think you're going to get him to do it at a karaoke bar. You know what I mean?
And he picked like the most, technical song of all. Like even if I wanted to rap that song in public, I couldn't. He's like, hey, let's go rap a Twister song. At karaoke.
Tech 9?
Yeah.
Worldwide Shoppers. Mike and Barden have no idea what we're talking about right now.
Mike does.
Mike, you like hip hop?
I do.
All right, man. What are you into?
Well, I was totally into hip hop from 86 through 92. So I still listen to a lot of the older. Of course, I love Eminem, but I like Big Daddy Kane and
Boyz II Men
and the older stuff for the most part. So yeah, no, I would not know a lot of the newer stuff other than obviously
Do you have an Ice-T album in your house?
I do. Ice-T.
All right, you're good in my book, bro.
NWA, sure.
Yeah.
Straight out of Compton, crazy motherfucking name Ice Cube from a gang called Because We're Attitude. Sorry, that's.
That didn't sound like it. That was it. That sounded just right.
Wow. Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah. Speaking of rap music, does this in your moments of solitary coaching and doing poker stuff? Is this would this be the most likely point of conversation here when you guys?
When we talk, what do we talk outside of when we're teaching the entire world how to beat us? We talk about. Yeah, probably hip-hop's like the most common subject. It's amazing how much I do not know about hip-hop, and I've listened since I was 17 every day, had something bumping in my headphones, but I didn't know a lot of this stuff out there. The Atlanta scene is... Carlos keeps playing me these, check out this guy, and I'm listening to the most amazing flow, this fire beat for 5-6 tracks. I'm like, man, what happened to this guy? He gave up. He quit. He works at Arby's. I'm like, oh man, that sucks. Like, and there's a lot like that in Atlanta. Yeah. It seems like it's just not the opportunities there used to be in the game.
Yeah, not for good rappers. There's a lot of opportunities for bad rappers. Like if you sound like Dr. Seuss, you can probably be rich. But if you're actually good at rapping, nobody's going to buy your stuff. Nobody's going to listen to your stuff, and you're going to end up working at Arby's.
That's by the way, I worked at Arby's before anybody gets so real mad, you know. But but Drake got 7 of the top 10, right? Like, or whatever it is.
Yeah, so I checked like the top 10 songs in the country, the top 10 rap songs in the country on Billboard charts, and 10 out of 10 of them suck. And 7 out of 10 of them are Drake songs.
Hey.
Exactly.
That sounds like rap, right? That sounds just like him. I mean, he does sound pretty white in a lot of them, you know? Like, but yeah, anyway.
You gotta get back to the roots, you know? The top 20 selling rappers are all spending too much time banging the Kardashian girls. You know what I mean?
That's where they get their money, homie. Yeah. You think you get it from music no more? No. It's like, yo, I got a shift with a Kardashian. You know, how long's your shift? A year and 3 months. Ooh, that's a long one. Yeah. You know? Anyway.
Would you have a battle coming up here? When's your next
battle?
No,
the last battle I had 3 months to prepare for. 5 days before it, I realized I hadn't written a word. I showed it. Carlos, I don't know how to drive, okay? Before anyone guffaws at that, I started playing poker professionally when I was 18. I was living in downtown Seattle. There was literally 5 movie theaters, 40 restaurants, like 3 libraries. Everything was if it was within walking distance. And having a car was super impractical. And then I moved to Seoul when I was 19. And I just never learned how to drive. So Carlos, you know, fast forward 10 years later, I'm a man-child who doesn't know how to drive himself places. And Carlos, I'm like, hey, Carlos, I got a battle in Fresno. You want to drive? Like, man. Like, and then, so you drive 7 hours. They shut down the venue 6 hours early. So outside of a brewery, we drove 15 hours for me to rap for 7 minutes in a 15-minute battle. And totally, I think, Carlos, did I ever have a clean run through of the bars in the car? Like, I choked every single time in the car, right?
It definitely wasn't the most, it wasn't the most conducive environment for studying. So you did better than I would expect, given that you started writing 5 days ago. But yeah, there were definitely times where you stumbled.
Yeah, there were times. There's a rapper called Stumbles now, which I think is the worst name ever. But yeah, I was definitely Stumbles that day. Oh, God,
that's just setting you up for failure if that's your name. Yeah,
exactly. What? There's another guy named Tedious, and he's dead serious. He shows up. This guy in DFW Battle League, he shows up, second round, he starts choking. He says, F this. Marches out of the battle, gets into his car and hits someone's car on the way out, and then has the gall to show up at the next event. Wow. Like, you know, yeah. So, no, I stumbled, but no, I'll tell you what really happened. This kid, the kid who was writing for me, he spent 3 months writing for me, and I almost thought, I'll call this guy up, I'll send him $150, like, thanks for your time, let's reschedule this. But then it occurred to me, what kind of man doesn't finish what he started? You said on this date you would be there and you would rap. So my whole goal there, I knew I was going to stumble. My big thing was just to finish, but it sucked. Yeah, what? Go ahead.
Let me, because listening to that, for people who don't understand the situation, that sounds a lot worse than it was. When Alex says he's paying somebody who's writing for him, he meant that the guy that he was going to battle was writing rhymes against Alex, and so instead of battling him, he was just going to pay him for wasting his time. He's not saying he has a ghostwriter. He writes his own raps.
I write everything on my own. Yeah, but yeah.
What would Carlos's battle rap name? Can we come up with something here off the? How about disappointed?
I like that.
That ain't bad. That ain't bad. Man, I don't know. I can't.
Is there anything, I looked at the Wikipedia for Bull's Head. It seems you got a little bit of nature. If you're going to live in the Southwest there, it's nice to be near the water, right? You can do some kayaking and do a few things there if you're into that.
Yeah, it's nice to look
at a public beach, right?
If you're a black guy like me and you can't swim, it's nice to look at the water at least. but I'm not getting in it.
The net cave. We need somebody who can swim.
Go
ahead, Mike.
Average temperature in like June and July is over 100 degrees. I mean, I guess that shouldn't be a surprise near Vegas. But.
Yeah, my white ass is getting out of here in July and August. That's not happening.
They told me that it's like 10 degrees hotter than Vegas.
Wow.
Wow. You know, I'm happy to be out there. I'll be honest. The first month I was here, I was thinking I own businesses in Costa Rica and I have my house in Costa Rica. But I was kind of thinking now I've lived. It just kind of hit me the other day. I've lived in the jungle. I've lived in the mountains. I've lived on the beach. I've lived in inner city Central America. I have no idea. A mega city in Asia. I've lived in, like a hippie city in Seattle. It's now the desert is next. It's pretty awesome to be out here, and people are really nice, and you can see all the stars at night. I was walking around last night at midnight, and just because I really hope a meth head will shiv me down for my cell phone. But in the moments of quiet, I did see the stars, and I was listening to my Spotify, and I was thinking, this is nice. This is nice. It's got a nice temperature right now, and right across the street when I'm coaching, I can see people jet skiing, and I don't know why. Some people get really pissed off when they see people having a good time when they're working. Like, it's really hard to be a waiter because you see everybody just having the time of their life, and meanwhile you're running around trying to not spill the soup. But I kind of like seeing everything out here. I like the sun. I'm having a good time.
I want to give Mike and Steve credit, a partial credit at least, especially Steve, for when you guys did the when we filmed the Mike's mini documentary, and I came out and Steve said to me, like, trying to convince me to move to California. He was like, This is like February. He said, just look around. This is winter. Like, that sentence, this is winter. When it was like, 70 degrees that day?
Yeah, it was like 72.
Like that stuck in my head. And that thought, I got that thought again when I went home for Thanksgiving, and it was miserable. Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's in Atlanta, it was pretty cold. And I drove back, and I got back to Bullhead City in the middle of January, and the first thing I saw were people on jet skis. So I was like, man, people riding jet skis in the winter, I'm in the right place.
Yeah. The weather report out here is kind of funny because basically what they do is they get a girl that's under 40 years old that's like a 9.5 out of 10, and she basically just says 72 for 30 seconds, and then they go back to the news. It's always the same.
The last two times I've been in New York or the East Coast in general, there's been a blizzard. And yeah, you come back to like a legit blizzard shut down New York City. Right. Blizzard.
That's hard to do.
By the way, one of the greatest days of my life, by the way, because for some reason, the hotel I was at, they shifted me to a room where I just had an entire wall that was a window. So it had a view of Manhattan from Queens, and I was just watching the blizzard all day while I was coaching. I was, this is my big executive moment, right? Like sitting there with my coffee overlooking the city, right? Before the cleaning lady shrieks at me that she needs to replace my coffee capsules. But yeah, I was thinking when I was on the East Coast, it's always sweltering hot and I want to kill myself, or it's so cold I'm just dying to get inside. And I was thinking, what does this do to people over a lifetime? If this is what you grow up. I notice I listen to a lot of, like, the hip hop I listen to is mostly East Coast hip hop, which is really weird because I'm from the West Coast. But the West Coast, it is amazing, right? It's just such moderate temperatures. I remember, like, growing up in Seattle, if it got a little nippy, it would be like, shut down the schools. Oh my God, oh my God, there's an inch of snow. Time to shut everything down because it's so moderate all the time. And it's nice being out on the West Coast. It's nice being here. It's mellow, it's chill, it's nice.
You know, Alex, I wanted to ask you. I've already told Mike about this, and after the first 3 words, he was just completely out. And Carlos, you might be the same. But have you ever tried cold showers, Alex? Like,
I have.
Really cold.
I used cold showers for a year when I lived up in the mountains of Costa Rica because I broke the damn thing that made the showers hot, and I just noticed I hated the shower every morning. I would only do 5 minutes, and every day I felt great. And that was when I was getting sober, and it really reset my mind. There was only one time I wanted to kill myself with that cold shower. It was a really cold morning. I woke up for a flight at 3 a.m. and I had to shower, and I was like, kill me. Please kill me. This is so bad. This is so bad. And sure enough, it was this. You know when you can't feel your feet, you can start not feeling your feet. It's really weird when that happens in your shower, and you did it willfully. But yeah, the cold showers are a big deal. I know a huge poker player that always does them before final tables and stuff like that. You're into that, Steve?
I am, yeah. I heard it on a radio show. You ever listen to Adam Carolla?
Oh, yeah. I'm a big Adam Carolla
I heard
fan.
it on there, and then I started trying it, and the first few times were absolutely brutal. You know, I mean, when you just turn it over to the sea and you turn it on, I mean, it's 40 seconds before, you can even get your breath back. And then a listener tweeted at me and he's like, hey, bro, and he tweeted me a link to Jonathan Little's routine and what he does the same thing. And he said, start off at least warm. And then he said, as you progress through the shower, back it over to cold and it'll be much, much easier to do. And since then I've tried that and I do it every time, and it's,
now, if Carlos ever has sex with the Big Lots woman in the shower, it's going to be scorching hot to get as much steam in there as possible.
Because he doesn't want to see her? Is that
so I can't see her in the cloud.
I get it.
But I'm sitting back laughing as I listen to you guys talk about this, because I learned about cold showers from reading Tim Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Body, which was like, I don't even remember, like years ago. And I've been doing it ever since then. And
really?
Yeah. And the guy who basically taught Tim Ferriss about it became a friend of mine. And he's this scientist that works for NASA. He lives in Alabama, and he basically taught Tim about cold showers because it helps with weight loss. And so that's why Tim was using it in the book, and which is why I started doing it. And the guy's name is Ray, who I won't say he like pioneered it in terms of like I'm sure there's people in the Stone Age just taking cold showers before Ray was even born, but he was the first person I heard talk about using it as a weight loss method, because he was trying to lose weight, and he noticed, he heard the story that we all did, that Michael Phelps eats like 10,000 calories a day or something. And so Ray just says, like, how is that possible? Given that the guy has abs, how can you eat 10,000 a day? Like, you don't burn that many calories swimming. And he realized that Phelps was burning calories by being in the cold water all day. And so that's when he started, experimenting with cold showers. And I ended up having some conversations with him on those lines, and also as far as the fasting. And so the whole time I'm laughing, like I was listening to hear what Steve was going to say about where he heard it from. I guarantee you, Adam Carolla probably heard it from Tim Ferriss, who heard it from Ray, who I heard it from directly from the horse's mouth. So I'm sitting back pretty smug right now.
He had Tim Ferriss on the podcast later, and then Tim came on and he said what he also does is he puts He has what's called a chili pad. Now, I looked these up on Amazon, and they're like $1,000 for a king-size bed, so I don't think that's going to happen. But what I do is I get one of those frozen gel pads that you would put on, like, you know, your back or your knee if you had a bum knee or something. And I basically put that underneath the sheet wrapped in a towel. And I tell you what, it's only a couple minutes before I fall asleep when that's under my back. And
Really?
Tim was saying that it makes you sleep faster. So if you normally need, 7 hours of sleep, it'll knock it down to 6, which was me. I had normally slept 7 hours before I started doing this, and now I sleep 6. And I actually wake up feeling more rested. And so it works.
Did you say you can sleep less with this?
You can sleep less with it. Yeah, that's why I wanted to bring it up to you, Alex, because I know if there's any way you can leverage your time even more, you would, like me, you would do it. And I'd recommend trying it.
I used to.
Just get get one of those big frozen gel pads that you would put, something maybe a foot wide by a foot and a half long or whatever, and then just put it from the top of your back down to your smaller back before you go to sleep. And I have that like mind that just keeps thinking and thinking about what I got to do the next day, and I got a list next to the bed, that I just start putting stuff on the list so that I don't forget when I wake up in the morning. And when I put that pad underneath there, and then I just lie straight on my back, it's within a couple of minutes I'm out.
That's nice.
Yeah, I used to do that. I learned that from the 4-Hour Body as well, and I used to do it. I didn't even use a towel. I didn't use a towel, and I had my shirt off, so I would just lay directly on it. And
oh wow,
yeah, and like sometimes I would sometimes I would do it on my stomach also, and I would wake up, not even wake up, like I'll lay on it for like an hour or so, and then like touch my stomach. It's like it's like touching an ice cube, but
yeah,
I couldn't feel it.
Wow.
I couldn't feel it. Like it wasn't. Once you get used to it, it's not bad at all.
Yeah. You touch your stomach or your back or whatever, and it just feels like you're handling a frozen piece of meat.
Exactly.
But surprisingly, there's no like frostbite or anything. You don't feel cold, really.
You can do that. You can get that. You can do that to your skin though. Do damage.
Could you? Well, I wrap it in a towel just to be safe, and then it's under the sheet. But
I'm a gangster, so I
ain't care. Try it, Alex. I swear you'll fall in love with it.
I while we're all bragging about cold exposure in Montreal, I did jump into the snow with my underwear on, and it was pleasant. It was strangely pleasant. I thought it was going to be really bad. Yeah, I had a hot shower running in the house. We recorded it. It's on Facebook if you want to see it. You can see my fat ass poking out of the underpants as I run into the house. But yeah, it's I ran, I did a flying jump, I put 2 thumbs up, and I face planted into 3 feet of snow. And I was expecting it to be really uncomfortable, but it actually felt really good, and it made me feel. I've been on the road for weeks then. I just done an international move. I didn't feel good, and I did that, and I felt great. And then brag post, I found out table the tournament later, so that was cool. Yeah, I'm a big proponent of it. I don't do it as much as I should.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Well, I've got a hand from a listener. If you guys want to go over a little strat.
Oh yeah, poker.
I want to ask them a little bit about the coaching, Steve. First, can I do that? That's what I'm curious.
Yeah.
Because I actually got to run with my son here before we get to this, so I'm curious. Just obviously, Carlos has been a student of yours, Alex, for a while here. Are you also helping him to become the businessman as well? It seems like a.
I do give him tips on how you have to manage coaching sessions. Right now, Carlos is in the phase where he has to get his name out there. He's a very good consultant. I can overhear a lot of his lessons, and the way he's explaining it is it's very easy to understand. Many times poker coaches make this huge mistake where they say they feel as if it is simple. This is a Tim Ferriss thing. If it's simple, it's expendable. When really simple is super valuable. The whole reason I have my business is because for me to understand an advanced poker concept, I need to watch the same thing 22 times, then write it down in my dead obvious way that my brain will actually memorize. And I repeat those lessons to my students. Carlos does the same thing with a lot of simplifying factors, and he does it for a different audience, which is really good. A lot of the people who are playing smaller stakes tournaments. So he's got his niche, he's got his market, and he's got to do a lot of work these days. So when you're getting your name out there, you have to read hand histories before they get in. But yeah, I would like to think I would just teach by example. Hopefully he can overhear my lessons. Well, I'm super loud. I know he can overhear them. But it's essentially just between lessons, you always owe the student 100%. Because if that person is paid $80 an hour, $100 an hour, $200 an hour for something you're not accredited for, you bet, because there is no way to be accredited when it comes to poker. There's no way to even say, like, I have grandmaster status or something like that, as you could in chess. You need to deliver a product. You need to deliver a service. And that means between lessons, you have to veg out. You're just 20 minutes, no exposure to anything. You have to be polite as possible. And yeah, we talk about it a bit, but mostly I can't really tell him what to do, because it's different getting a Carlos Welch lesson as opposed to getting a lesson from me. You're going to get something much more. You're going to get a guy jacked up on caffeine, like going a mile a minute for an hour and 12 minutes with me. And Carlos, it's going to be a laid back thing for a couple hours. It seems like he works with his guys for a few hours. They're always pretty happy about it. And yeah, it's a different thing.
I will say that, yeah, I do learn from his example, and just seeing him do his sessions. And even when he's not doing a session, like one of the big things that we talk about and that I see with my own eyes is him under promising, over delivering, especially when it comes to like general strategy stuff outside of the lessons. So like if he has his email list of students, they may not have a lesson scheduled that day, but they may get a free article from him that day that's catered to something that the group has been talking about, or like a free introductory video to like the next webinar series. So like those are things that I've seen him do that I hadn't seen before, and I'm picking up on those things.
That's cool. You guys are going to advance so far in your poker knowledge and career just by constantly being together. You know?
Now, I'm curious about some of the students that come to you, Carlos, because it's kind of funny. You say the podcast you is a lot different than the real you, which doesn't really, like people that much. I wonder, to bring us back to Alex, because I remember Alex on your podcast once, you said something along the line where it's like, really like half your students they were looking for a psychologist as much of a poker coach, right? They want to talk about how hard it is and losing money and the bad beats and all that kind of stuff.
Right. And that ratio has gone down a bit. It's, I get, you know what, now that I've increased prices, all my students are, and by the way, I couldn't do this the first 5 years I was coaching until you get a certain reputation. I have the greatest job in the world now, because all my students have these super interesting jobs, and they live all over the world, and they'll educate you about their jobs. And yeah, they're not looking for sympathy anymore. I bet Carlos gets a lot of guys looking for sympathy now, the more I think about it.
Actually, I don't, at least so far. I will say this. I have experience in education as an 8th grade math teacher. That's what I did before I got into poker. I was an 8th grade math teacher for 5 years. And in that environment, yeah, you did have to wear multiple hats in terms of being a psychologist and, dad for some of these kids and everything else. And one of the issues that I had being a teacher is like I was barely qualified to teach the material. I knew how to do math, and they gave me the basic tools I need to teach it, but they didn't give me any tools I needed to deal with, the psychology aspect of it. So I was lost. And that's one of the things that made teaching hard for me. I just kind of dealt with it as it came to the best of my ability. And as a poker coach, I fortunately so far don't get much of that, because like I said, I'm not as good at it. I'm not going to have these heart-to-heart conversations with grown-ass men from around the world. So whenever that happens, I'm going to direct them to Alex. Yeah, most of the people that come to me are people that already know me from all my various podcast appearances, or they're like people who watch me on Twitch. And so those people pretty much already know what they're getting. And my personality when I'm on a podcast is pretty much the same as my personality on Twitch or if I'm coaching somebody, because all three of those things is just me talking poker, which is when I'm in my element. But if somebody wants to come and talk to me about, trying to get back with their ex, I'm gonna tell them, hey, I'm against marriage, so I think you should stay. I think you should stay single. And like,
I'm against marriage and kids and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm against. Yeah. This is what I should say. I'm against if your marriage is not making you happy, that's what I'm against. I'm against not being happy. And
that was quite a pickle when I was unhappy in a marriage. And it's like, I literally made a vow in front of hundreds of people that I would keep this promise. That's kind of, that puts you in a bit of a pickle when you do that. The one thing about coaching, Carlos, it's funny because like Carlos kind of sounds like the tough guy here. He gets way more, he worries about his students a lot more than me. And that's something I didn't realize he really cares. And that's something I didn't realize took practice, which is all you can do as a coach is the second they want to book a lesson, you book it. You can send them a little article every week or a video or something saying, hey, check out this new thing that we're working on. You can give 100% of yourself during the lesson, but after that, it's on them. And most of my students won't put in the work, honestly.
Yeah, and what he's getting at is I have a problem with detaching. Like if I coach a guy and I help them and show them things that, like if I help them identify some of their leaks and then they stop doing those things and they get better and they're excited about getting better, and then like 2-3 weeks later they come back to me and they're worse than ever. Like it's hard for me to kind of like not let that affect me. And like that's when I become like the tough guy. It's like what are you doing? Like you made so much progress, like 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Like that is tough for me to deal with. I think I get too attached to their success, so I got to kind of distance myself a little bit from it.
Okay. I guess I was just thinking, you might have a lot of people coming to you. I don't know how many people have asked you about coaching that just kind of want to be friends with you as much as anything else.
Which one?
More than getting better at poker. You know what I mean?
For me, I get that a lot. But a lot of those people are kind of already my friends. See, that's kind of what I was saying. Like, it's a guy that watches my Twitch stream that has known me for like the year and a half, almost 2 years that I've been twitching now. And so we're kind of already friends in a way. I don't get too many at this point, people that's coming in cold. Either they've heard me on the podcast. Like there's so many people out there in the planet, which blows my mind, just the thought of it. There's so many people that feel like they know me personally that I've never met before. And those are the guys who are coming to get coaching for me.
Yeah. The other thing, like I just had a student. It's cool if they want to be friends because I do consider the students. There's sometimes the relationship has to be more business-like, but generally it's one of those things. Would you like to go to your job and hate your job, or would you like to enjoy your job? Well, if you're going to spend 60 minutes, 75 minutes talking to one person, you should make friends with them. And most of my students are really nice people. They're very educated. They're very fun to talk to. They have something to teach you. People are always surprised. One of my students was coming through Bullhead City. I don't know why, but they said, hey, you want to go meet up? I said, yeah, sure. And people are always surprised when I do that, but I haven't had too many really negative experiences. And generally the most negative experiences I've had with coaching have been when the person is not paying for it themselves, which is why I don't believe in this free college for all BS because it's I've never dealt with more like crappy kids that when a backer pays for everything. It's like, what do you really know about poker? What are your recent results? You know, I had a 18K score 15 months ago. You should be asking me for coaching. It's like, I don't have time. Sorry, I don't like, and I've literally told people I don't have time for this. Like, and I've told the backer I will not coach that person. I do not care. I don't, you know, I'll give you your money back. And but that's the great thing. The great thing about poker is nobody wants to be a good poker coach. Everybody wants to be sitting there with the trophy, the whatever they use at WPT, Bud Light, the big check, the women, and all that. And and to me, the way to success in poker is always having a paycheck for studying it. And I really, when I do a webinar now, I announce it with a pre-sale, and I get 20 pre-sales, and that's like my research funding until the product comes out. So I get paid to research the game. And I love my job. Most of the people I work with, I know love my job. And if they don't want to love getting in on this poker thing, which is playing a game for a living, if they want to have a bad attitude about it, they're not going to work with me. So yeah, it's a good time. I love my job.
Yeah, that's cool.
Nice. Well, Stevie, I got to run. I'll let you guys do the strategy together. I've already abandoned my son for too long here.
Peace, Mike.
Nice talking to you guys.
Alrighty, Mikey, have a good one. Okay, we got a hand from a listener. If you guys are in.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
All right, but first, I'm going to tell you about Elliot Roe. Yes, I will not play a hand of poker unless I listen to that man's voice first. Meditation tapes just before you play. Get in the right mindset so that you can focus on poker. Listen to an MP3 before you play. You can put it on your phone, your computer, your tablet, whatever you want. He has MP3s for everything. Live cash, online MTTs. He's got a confidence booster, the simple volume system. Maybe you're not playing as much as you know you should. You can try it out for free. There's no obligation. Listen to his 7-minute Tilt-Buster. Put it right on your phone and listen to it. It's free. It's from me to you. You have to have a warm-up routine for everything. Professional athletes do it before a game. Make one before you play poker. You need a little 10-minute warm-up routine before you start to wager large sums of money for small edges. If you learn nothing else from me, let it be that you have a set routine that you do every time before you play. After you do this for a while, something in your brain will start to click, and then you're in poker mode. For me and a lot of pros and a lot of serious players and a lot of you listeners are using these, and they're working. This is the next step in poker. The Mindset Advantage, Elliot Roe. Use the code HUPOKER. Score yourself a discount. You'll find all the links in the show notes. HUPOKER. You can go to headsuppoker.poker and you can click through the links and you can find it there, your 7-minute Tilt-Buster. Okay, this is a hand from the listener. His name is Topher Watson.
Okay.
He says, this hand is from the Foxwoods, $600, 500K guarantee. It was unlimited re-entry with the first 4 flights that totaled for 1,300 entries, making day 2 gets you $1,200. So day 2 starts with 150 players, so it sounds like he's already doubled his money, and we're down now to 52. First is 107K, and 51st is $2,275. $2,275. The pay jumps are pretty small, jumping about $500 per ladder. 22nd is when the pay jumps start going up. It's 4,800 and the jumps get bigger from there on out. Okay, this hand is 9-handed. And let's see, this hand is 9-handed with blinds at 5,000, 10,000 with a 1K ante. And I have 260K in chips. So Hero has 26 big blinds. I haven't been at this table long at all, as I just got transferred. The table is stacked in chips compared to the other ones I've played. Every person has over 700K other than me, and another guy with 150K. So if one guy's got 150K, Hero's got 270, and everyone else has over 700K. Out of 9 people, we're 7th in chips at the table. Let's see. Fold under the gun. Okay, so under the hand, fold under the gun. Old Man Limps, UTG1, UTG2 limps. So we got a limp of 10K, a limp of 10K, middle position limps. And then we're in the cutoff, and we have King Queen offsuit. So far in the pot, there's 56K in the middle. What is the best play here with 26 big blinds? What do you guys think?
You want to take this one, Carlos?
I'll tell you what.
I've never done this like where two people answer. This is different, but yeah, go ahead.
I'll tell you what I used to do is I used to just shove here because they, for the most part, have cap ranges. Also, I have blockers of kings and queens, and there's a lot of dead money out there. So even if I get called by a pair, I'm still flipping for that dead money, which is profitable. Also, like even ace getting called by ace jack is not the end of the world. The main thing I don't want to get called by is like ace queen, ace king, but most players would have raised that hand. I'm mostly worried about the original guy that limped, so I would want to know more about how he's played in the past. If this was just a habitual limper, then I would generally shove here, but I think I may be overplaying my hand in these spots. After a couple of conversations with Alex, we've talked about how poker is a business building competition, and you don't want to like bet the house on one play. And so maybe 26 big blinds is too much to risk in that spot, although I am confident that it's plus EV. So, but if I'm not going to shove, I'm probably not going to raise either, because people who limp generally don't fold unless you make it really big. And I don't know how big I can make this without committing myself anyway. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say the new Carlos will just, are we big blind? What position are we?
We're cut off.
Cut off. New Carlos. In the cutoff, I guess I just fold. If I can't shove, I'm folding.
Before you answer, Alex, I was kind of thinking the same thing. I really like this as a shove here for the reasons you said, Carlos, was because we got two great blockers. We got a king and a queen. It's offsuit, so I'm not as happy to see a flop as I would be with, king, queen of hearts or king, queen of diamonds. I don't know why I say that the suits or whatever. King, queen suited.
Right.
And,
I'm sorry,
and then I thought, maybe
it's a suited hand?
No. I'm saying I would rather shove with king, queen off than I would with king, queen suited, just because.
Sorry. I thought I got it. Okay, go ahead.
No, you're good. Just because you still have the same blocker value, but it's not as valuable as the suited one, But then I was thinking, can we raise here to 5 big blinds or 6 big blinds? But I don't know. I mean, what are we doing? We're going to throw on 20% of our stack or something just for, you're getting called somewhere. And then you still got to play.
Right.
I like a shove here too. What's the answer, Alex?
Well, thank you. The shove is a good default. Like, the shove will get you out of trouble. It is almost certainly going to turn a profit. I don't think it turns you a great profit, but something that's really, it's really strange. I need to write a little ebook called Tournament Theory, just about my general feeling of how to play poker tournaments. But because it's hard to explain this concept of it's a business building competition, because I've really been stressing that lately, because it's much easier to get somebody to imagine when you have pocket nines and you raise and somebody 3-bets you and you just hate the situation. But you go, well, I can't raise fold here, so I'm going to move all in. That's the equivalent of saying, hey, do you want to invest $300,000 in Red Bull going into Iran? Well, wait, what? Does Iran even have energy drinks? Well, I don't know, dude. Like, why do I want to put $300K on it? I don't know. Like, that would just be a weird conversation, right? Yet, this is the conversation you're having with yourself. Like, yeah, I like pocket nines. I like Red Bull. Doesn't mean it works here. right? And this is how my mind thinks. This is me in the shower. This is me, Red Bull, Iran. How does this work, right? But that's a good way. But in this case, your business has whittled down a little bit, and your business is headed for some tough times. You have some hefty competition here with these 70 big blind stacks. You also have a real incentive to gamble because the payout jump is pretty small. So you have a real incentive to kind of go for the gold. So this all helps you shove. That's always a good default play. The thing I can tell about this player, though, was this you, Steve, who said this?
No, this was not me. This was Topher Watson. He's a listener. He wrote in.
The trick here is if the button's active, you limp, and then if the button raises and it folds around you shove. Because a lot of times the button will have an ace-4 offsuit and go, I got to isolate. I saw that in a Card Runners video in 2007. And so they raise, and it comes around to you and you shove, and then they get very frustrated. But I never understand the frustration. It's a perfectly legal move. And if you put on Card Runners EV, you have everybody else folding, you have his raising range be pretty expansive there. Just all the offsuit aces, some suited kings, and just small pairs and suited connectors. You have a jam all day, especially with all those blinds out there. And if one or two guys call the 6x raise, well, you got out for one big blind. I don't think it's I don't think it's that bad. And if the button limps, okay, so now you have this multi-way hand. You have this multi-way pot with two big cards, which will make one pair. Now, one pair generally, if the pot gets big, you're not doing so hot, right? Now, however, we can kind of separate things here, which is, let's take a hypothetical board. Let's say it's, I'll try to come up with a tricky one. King of hearts, 2 of hearts, 7 of diamonds. Well, here, if we bet and somebody check raises, we can call because there's a lot of flush draws. If more than one person decides to play, we can run. If it's king, deuce, 7 rainbow, and we bet and somebody check raises, they don't really have a bluffing range multi-way there. If you can imagine check raising there with ace-jack offsuit when the cutoff leads and there's 5 other people in the pot, that's probably not something you do that often. So you can pretty safely bet fold one pair. So that is the more nuanced play, which I think is why you need to work so hard at poker, just to get all that experience. And this is why you have to go home and have hand history discussions like the one we're having right now, because this allows you to think. I did not know the answer to this question for 8 years, and I'll be honest with you, I sat here while Carlos was answering for 90 seconds going, I don't know. Not really sure what you... And then it finally occurred to me, oh, wait, I did this one time. You limp, because if he raises, you move all in. Yay! I remembered. And the only reason I even have that is because one day I looked at this spot, I sat there, I looked at it, I probably had a student going, well, what do I do here? I said, hold on. I'm not charging you for this 45 seconds. Give me a sec, right? And then you just keep collecting little spots like that. But it's so fun when you limp jam on the hot crap poker player. The guy who's just been running hot for 92 days and he thinks it's never going to end at the local Wynn casino. That guy, I love limp jamming on that guy. And when they get real indignant and call you with ace-9 suited, and then they, yes, I'm so good. I knew I was good. Flop king 4-6. All right. And by the way, remember, you have an incentive to gamble due to the flat structure and due to the stack dynamics at your table. So yeah, I like that option. Well, I hope this helps you. Whatever your name was,
Topher.
How could I forget Topher?
It's like Christopher, but without the Chris.
Yeah, I got a student who's a Topher. Yeah, I have a student who's a Topher, and I just, I thought he was from the South or something. And then I got a formal email from him for something. It said Christopher. I was like, you went with Topher? That's strong. Well, it's like, okay, I'm Alexander. Every Alexander goes as Alex. Every single one. once every 7 years, I meet a guy who insists on going by Alexander, and I'm always saying, you are such a douche. If I had to do that every day, excuse me, Alexander, I would like you to enunciate 4 syllables or whatever it is. And then once every 12 years, you meet an Al. There's a guy, I go by Al. Mm-hmm. That guy is always terrifying. Get into your car and drive far, far away. Because if you decide Al, that's, I don't know. I've never met an Al where I was like, hey, I'd like you to take care of, I was going to say my kids. I don't have kids as far as I know. So, yeah. Anyway, I'd like you to take care of, somebody else's kids. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah. Hey, I got a question for you, Steve, because we know your political affiliation. Who would you rather have taking care of your kids, Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump? If you had kids. I don't know if you have kids.
I don't have kids, no.
Okay.
That ship has sailed. I would say Donald Trump.
Really?
And
I feel like he'd be Space Cadet, like playing on his Twitter, like running through a screen door. Like, I mean, he won't steal from the baby later. You know, he won't be like, hit me with a little of that Play-Doh. But I feel like Hillary Clinton would be the better mother here. But yeah, I mean, she would be the better caretaker. I bet she'd be more responsible than Trump. Doesn't mean I voted for her, by the way. Didn't vote for Donald either. But yeah,
okay. I was about to. Okay, yeah, that's right. Libertarian, right?
Yeah, I voted Libertarian. They returned my vote, so I officially didn't vote. So yeah, it was like the most contested, important election ever, and I'll always be able to tell my kids I had no say in it. So that's how it was great. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. Sorry, that was kind of a loaded question, so I could put my answer. But anyway, glad you enjoyed it. You want to do more? You want to do more poker? I like poker. Poker's fun. Yeah.
Okay. Topher says, I decided to limp because I felt 26 bigs with 4. I decided to limp because I felt 26 bigs with our blind levels was too much to shove pre-flop here. In live poker, I noticed old people love limping monsters under the gun, which scared me here. Not a stereotype. However, with there being 56K in their pre-flop, around 20% of my stack, and the payouts fairly flat, do you like a shove here with King Queen? You kind of answered that. I assume most of the limps to be small pairs, suited connectors / Broadways, but I haven't been here long enough to confirm that. No reads at the table, he just sat down. Raising to 5 to 7x big blinds pre seems like too much of our stack. I was just picturing me shoving and getting snapped off by the old guy under the gun, asking myself why I didn't wait for a better spot with so many bigs. So it's I really like that, Alex. I've never really thought of that or even heard that. If you look to your left and there's a couple of active players that look like they're anxious to squeeze in the button or in the blinds, if you limp there and one of them shoves, like with their ace-4, like you're saying, even when you get in and they call there, with all the dead money in the pot, you got to be at least ahead, right?
Yeah, you're generally doing all right. By the way, Carlos's option of I don't know what to do here and fold is also really professional. Because you don't want to do what a lot of people do, which is, I don't know what to do here. Okay, I raised to 7x, which I think we can all agree was probably the worst option. Yeah. Because you're likely going to get 3 callers, and it's like, well, I hope you hit the board, and because no one's folding. Yes. And that's the thing. Everybody in today's games goes, oh, the games are so hard. If I can raise 7x from a 26x stack and expect 3-4 callers in an average game, I don't think it's that tough. I'm sorry. I just don't think people are that good at poker. I keep hearing this. Some guy retired. He said, the way when MTTs are going, everybody's just, they're adjusting until it becomes, it will become unexploitable one day. What planet are you playing poker on? People don't fold. People don't, they literally say, I didn't show up here to fold. I came here to play. And see, but I'm scatterbrained a bit now. I'm at hour 17 of my fast. What was I going to say? There was something else. Yeah, that play really works. Now here's the funny thing. He had the right answer, wrong reasoning. Did y'all hear that? Yeah. You always got to make sure just because you do what the pro does doesn't mean you were going to do the next move the pro was going to do. I'm probably could match the chess opens of Bobby Fischer, and I've never played chess before, that doesn't mean I'm not going to get smoked by an 8-year-old at the local, I was going to say college. Where do kids go to school now? School. Yeah, Anyhow, we got more poker? Yeah, yes. Poker.
Okay, he says, how the hand played out. After I limp, the button limps. Small blind completes and big blind checks. All right, we're going 7-handed or whatever this is. The flop comes out king 5 deuce with 2 spades. It checks through to the guy to my right who bets 44K. I shove, everyone else folds, and he snap calls. And I hear the dreaded words, well, I hope you didn't limp a set of 5s. He had bottom set.
I love it when they do that. I hope you don't have the one hand.
Yeah, that beats me.
Well, and it's amazing to me. And in Europe, they'll have a set of 2s there, and I probably wouldn't have just out and out jammed there, but let's say I did. They'll have a set of 2s there. They'll wait till the end. They'll look really worried at you. You'll table the hand. They'll nod solemnly, then slam down the 2s and high five their buddy. And in Europe, that's not offensive. That was the first time somebody did that to me in Poland. I was like, I will find you outside of this card club and I will beat you to a pulp. I promise you. Right? And then it was, and everybody was like, Alex is such a dick. And if I had done that in home games growing up, I would have literally gotten punched in the face and I probably would have deserved it. Right? But in Europe, I've learned that's not offensive. That's part of the game. They're having fun with it. It's like a big salutation, right? It's like, oh, right this way, my friend, mon frère. It's just weird. And it took me so long to learn. Well, it took me the second time it happened. I said, okay, don't yell because it'll get on the Poker Stars blog and you'll look like an asshole again. And the third time it happened, I thought, this is really strange. The fourth time it happened, I started getting a victim complex. Why do people do this to me? Is it because I'm 19 years old? The 207th time it happened, I said, okay, maybe this is just something they do.
It's a cultural thing, yeah.
I got supersonic speed that I used to run to you. I stretched my arms for my...
Well, the internet cut out there at the last second, but we got 98% of it. So a big thank you to Alex and Carlos and Mike for coming on the show. That was very cool. Good strategy in there, and thank you for the hand, Topher. That was pretty cool. Good spot. Upcoming guests, we've got Andrew Brokus coming on. Carlos is going to be on the road here, and we're going to do an episode with him. And I want to have Alex back on. And recently, I've had a fascination with donk betting, and I want to. I've been studying it a lot, and I really want to pick his brain because, he wrote a whole chapter on it in his book, and he also pretty much taught Jonathan Little how to donk bet. I mean, this guy is super, super smart when it comes to donk betting, so I really want to pick his brain on that. Before we sign out, Tournament Poker Edge. You play tournaments, join the TPE community. Learn from, talk to, and interact with the pros you hear all the time on this podcast. Watch videos from Mark Alioto, Derek Tenbush, Andrew Brokus, and Carlos even has one up there that he did with Andrew. And that one's actually even a free video. So I'll put a link in the show notes for free training video, and then you can watch Carlos and Andrew go through one of his deep run tournaments. Mark and Derek's series just came out. Andrew Brokus has almost 200 videos. He's got them on hand reading, bluffing, evaluating bluffs, constructing ranges, continuation bets, playing the big blind, value betting. It's all there at Tournament Poker Edge. Go through the free videos. Check them out. You can enter your email, and then you have access to all the free videos, and there's a lot of them. When you do join the TPE community, you get access to almost 2,000 videos. They're all about tournaments, and each week they roll out new ones, each and every week. The forum is awesome because you can post a hand that you played. You get feedback from the community and from the pros. You can message anyone on the site, and when you do join, use the codes HUP month, HUP quarter, or HUP year, depending on how long you want to sign up for. I just do the annual one. That way I don't even have to think about it. It's just done. It's not like I'm going to stop playing tournaments. You might as well just... Anyways, save yourself some cash. Join the club. Study and learn with other people that are just like us. I swear to you, it will be the best thing that you've ever done for your tournament game. I guarantee it. All right, got a line of upcoming guests coming up, and you can get your free 7-minute Tilt-Buster. Click on the link in the show notes, and when you purchase an MP3, use the code HUPoker. Bookmark us on Amazon, headsuppoker.poker. If you want to get a hold of Alex for coaching or just to say hi, go to pokerheadrush.com, and you can sign up for the newsletter there. Then you'll get free strategy content. I'm on his newsletter, and we get probably 3 or 4 emails a week that are just random, good strategy thoughts, other programs you can sign up for. Awesome newsletter. You can follow Alex on Twitter at The Assassinato. You can follow Carlos at Hip Hop 101 Trivia. If you want to get coaching from Carlos, go to www.facebook.com/mediocrepoker. Okay, we'll put a link in the show notes. You can follow Mike at Mike Sneideman and watch his Twitch stream, twitch.tv/rampagepoker. Follow me on Twitter at HUP Podcast. All these links are in the show notes. Headsuppoker.poker is the place to go. Thank you for tuning in. And here is your weekly motivational speech.
Because there are some things in your life that will make you run. There are certain things that will happen in your life that make you pick up the pace. That slap you out of your stupor and say, this ain't no time to cry. You feel like I can't even have good grief. Everybody got to pick up the pace. That's why I can't deal with people who cannot pick up the pace. Don't be strolling when I got a 911 on you. I need people who can pick up the pace. Do not allow the cares of this world to destroy your passion for living. You have to run after it. Success is always intentional. I would rather aim for the stars and not hit them than to not aim at all. I would rather go after it and not get it than not go after it at all. I'd rather try and fail than not try at all. I don't want to live with the idea, wonder what would have happened had I done more with my life. I'm going to go for it, come hell or high water. I'm going after my destiny. You got to run after your destiny. You can't stroll after your destiny. You can't walk after your destiny. You got to run. Somebody holler, run!